chapter 23, verse 46. And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. You can also read Psalms 139, verse 7 through 10 for our text today. We're going to talk about the hand of God. Thank you. You may be seated. The hand of God. Of all the members of the human body, the hand is the most mysterious instrument. It is that part of the body which put the eyes, the tongue, and heart into action. God has not given us the swiftness of an eagle. Some of us fly too high as it is. God has not given us the hearing of an elk. Some of us hear too much as it is. God has not given us the eyes of a panther. Some of us see too much as it is. God has not given us the sense of a bloodhound. Some of us are nosy enough as it is. God has not given us the daisy plumage of a peacock. Some of us strut too much in church as it is. But because of the hand, we can fly with a spaceship where the eagles can't fly. Hear with a radio where the elk cannot see or hear. Through the telescope, we can see what a panther could never see. Through internet, track down people that a bloodhound could never get the sense of. Strut on the moon where a peacock has never been because of the human hand. What is a hand? A hand is the lower end of the arm used for taking hold of objects. It contains 27 bones, a wrist, palm, 12 joints, and 46 muscles. 4 fingers and a thumb. Well, we have 27 bones in a man's hand. It is a replica of the 27 books in the New Testament. The 12 joints is a replica of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ. 4 fingers is a replica of the 4 gospel writers: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The 46 muscles is a replica of the 46 years they spent building the temple of Jerusalem. There are very great significant things and spiritual things about the human hand as we study it today. The Bible has much to say about hands. Over 1,440 times in the Bible it speaks of hand. The Bible speaks about striking hands, powerful hand, strong hand, good hand, stretched out hands, cutting hands, folded hands, blessed hands, evil hands, slick hands, withhold hands, feeble hands, wounded hands, holy hands, clean hands, dirty hands, earnest hands, heavy hands, anointed hands, bloody hands, lifted hands, chained hands, escaped hands, marked hands, and loving hands. For there are many wonders of the hand. It can feel to search, touch to love, point in anger, knuckle up to fight, climb in heights, pull to ascend, push to succeed, invite for company, direct to guide, clap in happiness, write to communicate, fold to pray, open to receive, display engagement rings, walk through yellow pages, thread needles, paint pictures, tickle for fun, ward off missiles, turn cold in fear, shake in nervousness, sweat in apprehension, communicate with the deaf through sign language, hold the thumb up for approval, hold down the thumb for disapproval, wipe tears away, reach out to embrace, pick pocketbooks at the same time. The hand is, and the hand can be called the most precise instrument. Most anyone can have an odd-looking nose, a wart and dish face, bowed-down head. Some of us can have freckles in our face, birthmark, pigeon toes. We can have all kind of things that we are familiar with. But there's not only but one kind of fingerprint to a person. No two people alike. The fingerprint is precision, perfect, with all its means of identifications. They may all fail sometime, but the fingerprint method proves infallible. Even identical twins do not have the same fingerprint. Our hands also tells a great story about our experience in life. For our hands also tell people who are experienced in interviewers, when they interview you, they will notice how you hold your hands and how you manipulate and your hands and how you handle your hands in mannerism. The polygraph, the lie detector, operates on the assumption that the hand is the servant of the brain. The palmistry can read your hand and tell what kind of life you live by reading lines in your hand and knowing about all the stars in the planetary world. They can tell you what you like and what you don't like. They can tell you about your past and tell you about your future through palmistry. What would our world be like today if there were no hands? After getting a good night's rest in the bed and before getting out the bed, hands enable you to toss your bedclothes and get in the bed. When you get up in the morning, your hands enable you to take your clothes and put them back on. It is your hand that aids you to brush your teeth. Hands help you comb your hair. With the aid of hands, we cook our food, put on our clothes, drive our cars. If there were no hands, there would be no buildings. If there were no hands, there would be no houses. If there were no hands, there would be no factories. If there were no hands, there would be no landscaping, no radios, no telephone, no airplanes, no electric lights. Think about what this world would be like today if there was no hand. Because of a hand, we can express our love with a handshake. Write a letter to a friend or family member. Pen music that calms the soul. Because of a hand, the skillful artists have served mankind through the medium of beautiful pictures. Because of the hand, the surgeon can serve mankind through the medium of medical treatment. Because of the hand, the author have ceased the pen, wrote the thought and wisdom of ages to inhabit our libraries. When the mind desires to disseminate news and to bring us things that's happening around the world to our doorstep, the hand creates and types and presses the literature which swells into rivers, flowing in the world. Even the blind alleys of ignorance are changed by the human hands through wisdom and through media. Without the hand, man could not have lordship over the animal kingdom. The world would be in a mess if these ferocious animals could tear man apart and he had no hand to create machines and other weapons to protect him. For man is on the throne and as a monarch of the earth because he has been blessed with the hand. I stated earlier the Bible has much to say about hands, but if you study life, God asked a question to Moses. When Moses was standing at the burning bush, God asked Moses a question. What is that in your hand? Your hand is important. You know, a woman can tell you whether she like you or not by the way she shake your hand. If she shakes your hand and she just holds it out lightly and just barely gives it to you, she doesn't have time for you. But if she shakes your hand and she wraps her hand around it and then having to shake and nerve and work her fingers around your hand while she's holding your hand, brother, you in business because of the human hand. But the human hand can tell the truth about people. The human hand can be soft and it can touch you. The human hand can be warm and make you feel love. The human hand can be cold and make you feel unwanted. Science said that when a man shakes your hand, you can judge what type of man he is by the way he shakes it. If he shakes your hand when the palm is downward, it means that that man feels that he's an underminer, for he's working against you. He shakes with his hand with the palm hanging down. If he shakes with his hand and the palm is upward, then that man thinks he's above you and he's out working against you to tear you down. But if he shakes your hand and the palm meets your hand direct, then that's a brother to brother handshake, which means we're on one accord and I am your friend. I'm talking about what the hand can do. Somebody here today can shake your hand and throw a rock and hide the hand. Some of us use our hand for the wrong thing. Just like one man killed his brother, he killed him with his hand. With the hand, a man can make you feel welcome. And with the hand, a man can push you away. What's that in your hand? God asked Moses. My question to you this morning is, what is that in your hand? What's that in your hand, Abraham? It is a knife. I'm going to use that knife and obey God's word. When God told Abraham, take your son Isaac and take him up on the mountain, he used a knife in his hand to demonstrate his love for God, because God put him on a test by what was in his hand. What's that in your hand, Joshua? It is a spear. I'm going to fight my way through the wilderness and get the children across Jordan River. What's that in your hand, Gilead? It's only a lamp, a pitcher, and a trumpet. But I'm going to win the battle over the Midianites. What's that in your hand, Samson? It's a jawbone of an ass. But with that jawbone of an ass, he slew 1,000 Philistines. What's that in your hand, David? It's nothing but a little sling. But I'm going to take that sling and throw it in the name of God and give that old giant a heaven's knockout. What's that in your hand, Mary? It's an alabaster box. It's an alabaster box of ointment, for I'm going to anoint the Savior's feet. What's that in your hand, Dorcas? It's a needle that I'm going to thread and I'm going to sew to help the poor. What's that in your hand, Jesus? It's a little boy's lunch. 2 fish and 5 barley loaves. But I'm going to feed a multitude and make a fish market and a bakery shop. What's that in your hand, John Bunyan? It's a pen to write Pilgrim Progress. What's that in your hand, Michelangelo? It's a chisel where I'm going to sculpt it out some rock and make great pictures around the world. What's that in your hand, Hank Aaron? It's a bat. I'm going to knock over 733 home runs. What's that in your hand, Mary McLeod Bethune? It's only 9 students, but I'm going to take 9 students and create one of the greatest institutions in the world today, Bethune-Cookman College, right there in Florida. What's that in your hand, Abraham Lincoln? It's an ink pen. I'm going to write the Emancipation Proclamation and free the slaves from under the bondage of slavery. What's that in your hand, George Washington Carver? It's nothing but a peanut. But I'm going to take a peanut and come up with over 100 products. What's that in your hand, Martin Luther? It's my 99 thesis. I'm going to hang them on the Pope wall and protest against indulgence in the church. What's that in your hand, Martin Luther King? It's a dream and nothing but a march. But when I get through dreaming and when I get through marching, I'm going to march black folk from the back door all the way up to the front door. In God, all right. I come by to ask you this morning, what is in your hand? What's in your hand, Flemming? It's a Bible in my hand. I'm going to tell a dying world that I serve a God who sits high on his throne. He rules and super rules. He is our everlasting Father. What's that in your hand, Mount Carmel? It's Mount Carmel Baptist Church at 2755 Camden Road. We are proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ in Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. What is that in your hand? You got to take your hand and use it for God's service. Now, not only are we talking about man's hand, but I want to talk now about the almighty hand of God. Well, when we talk about God being a person with hands, we're talking about anthropomorphism. How do you describe God in human terms? Does God have hands? Yes, he does have a hand. In a sense, he is a spirit which does not have a body, but in a human sense, anthropomorphism, he does have hands, because I've seen his hand working in my life. I've seen God work miracles in my life. I woke up this morning by the hand of God. He touched me this morning, and I woke up clothed in my mind because of the hand of God. Clothes in here. Not only the healer, but he got a giving hand. God is a big giver. Does anybody know God will give you something? Have you ever been in a situation people wouldn't give you nothing? You got out on your knees and said, Father, I stretch my hand to thee. If you lift up your hand, he'll lift out his hand, pour you out a blessing. You won't have room to receive it. He's a giver, I tell you. Oh, but that's not all. He has sacrificial hand. God is a God who has wounds in his hand. He died out on Calvary. He got sacrificial hand on Calvary. They nailed him in his hand, nailed him in his feet, pressed him in his side. And when he come back, you know how I'm going to recognize him. I'm going to recognize him by the wounds in his hand. Yeah. I want to close by telling you, I told the Lord, I'm in your hand. Whatever you got that you can't handle, Mount Carmel, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, leave it in the hand of God. Leave it in Jesus' hand. When Jesus died, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. I heard all state saying you're in good hands when you got all state. But way over in the midnight, When I need somebody to talk to me, Allstate can't be there. You're not in good hand. But if you're in Jesus' hand, you can call it in the midnight hour. Oh, call him early in the morning. You can call him when you don't have a friend. You can call him when everybody turn you down. Yeah, won't he fix it? Leave it in his hand. If you can't handle it, leave it in the hands of God. Oh, I ain't want to go this far, but I'm telling you, I found myself in some times that I couldn't do nothing about some things. I had to get out on my knees. I said, Father, is in your hand. Oh, fix it. Is in your hand. Oh, fix it. Won't he fix it? And sometimes you got to tell the Lord, precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, and help me to stand. I'm weak, but thou art strong. Hold me with your powerful hand. I'm telling you this year, leave things in the hands of God. I'm telling you this year, God's hand can work it out. God's hand, God's hand, God's hand. That's how I made it last year. God's hand. How did you make it through the storm? How did you come over through the rain? Can you point at your neighbor and grab him by the hand and say, neighbor, it was God's hand. That's how I made it. 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 Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how I made it. I got to quit now. Door of the church open. Door of the church open. I'm going to leave it in God's hand. God got the best hand. God got a powerful hand. God got a creative hand. God got a saving hand. He's reaching his hand out right now, saying, give me your hand. God is saying, give me your hand. If you give him your hand, he'll pull you out the deep water. If you give him your hand, you may be sinking right now, but he's reaching his hand out. Oh, give me your hand. 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 Oh, give me. Look at somebody and say, give it to Jesus. Give it to Jesus. I don't care what your troubles are. You can't handle it. Just give it to him. Put it in his hand. Come on out here and join the church. So I can't do nothing about it, but I'm going to put it in his hand. If it's too much for you, put it in his hand. When you've done all you can do, and you can't do no more, put it in his hand and watch him work. I want somebody that really got something you can't handle. Just stand on your feet and just give God that shout of praise. Release it. When you've done all you can do. Give him a praise victory shout. Give Give them those hand claps, shout. I'm going to turn it loose now. I'm going to leave it to God. I can't handle it. I'm going to put my health in his hand, my case in his hand, my life in his hand, my children in his hand. Put them in God's hand. Well, God bless you, my friend. I hope you were blessed by today's message entitled The Hands of God. You got to take it all and turn it over into his hand and let God work out your problems, and he can do it, friend. Some of us are going through some tough times right now, but you got to leave it in the hands of the Lord. I just preached this sermon, and I know you want it. So call us right now and get today's message. And along with these sermons that I have preached for 2012, you can get these sermon series entitled The Hands of God. Don't throw that rock. You remember I preached that last week? And another one just coming out next week. You don't want to miss it. What Jealousy Would Do. That's a stellar award-winning sermon I got several years back. Re-preached it, and I know you're going to enjoy it. And also in this series, A Fool on a Mule in the Middle of the Road. That's about old Balaam. Let not your heart be troubled, and let your Egypt go. Yes, let your past go. Let your Egypt go. You want these sermons? These are the year sermon for 2012, and I want you to call right now on that 1-800 number and get these sermons before we start going in the old camp meeting song service. All right? God bless you, my friend. I hope you were blessed and become one of my partners. I need partners so I can stay on the air. You need to call in and become one of our partners to support us. It's been such a pleasure coming into your home. Turn it over in the hands of God. See you next.